everybody. Before we jump into today's episode, we have two sponsors we want to say thank you to for supporting this show. The first one is Routine. You guys have heard me talk about Routine, honestly, back from the early days of the podcast, and it's still a product I use every single morning. They have a prompt for me here. I'm going to do a little impromptu on this ad read today because honestly, this is a product that I truly believe in. And so I'm just going to tell you guys exactly what I think and why. First and foremost, this is a stat that they shared, but when you sleep, you lose between a pound and a half of water. And most of that's just sweating while you sleep. I used to not know if that was actually true, to be honest. I felt like a pound to a pound and a half of water seemed like quite a bit while I slept. But the one thing I did constantly pay attention to when I started using Routine was just the fact that before using Routine, I always felt a little dehydrated in the morning. And I'm one of those people that when I get up really early usually. I work out. One of the first things I do is some form of fitness. It's just like what I do before everyone's awake. And so it's very easy for me to grab a coffee, pre-workout, an energy drink, something with caffeine in it, and just go. When I am good about using Routine, first, I basically they come in these little single serve packets. They contain half an organic lemon, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, Himalayan sea salt, all 6 essential electrolytes, and they have no sugar in them at all. A lot of hydration products are going to have sugar. So one of the things about Routine that I love is that there's no sugar in there. So when I am good about doing this consistently, I will take one of those single serve packets, I'll throw it in my mixer bottle, and whether I also put in a pre-workout or something with caffeine or I just drink that separately, I try to drink that first. And the days I do that, I do genuinely feel hydrated and just have a different form of clarity all morning. A lot of people have tried to make their own homemade versions of Routine, right? You see people they take a shot of the apple cider vinegar, they put a little sea salt, a little lemon in a drink. This is essentially that, but in a product that you can take with you on the go, have it ready for you first thing in the morning. I know me personally, when I'm groggy rolling out of bed, the last thing I want to do is, squeeze a lemon, cut lemons up, go get the apple cider vinegar, find my sea salt. I just rip this packet open, throw it in my water, drink it, and it's good to go. You can try yours today. If you haven't tried it yet and you've been listening to this podcast for years, just try the damn Routine. Give it a shot. You can use code ShaneWhite30 and get 30% off your first order. So you get 30% off by using code ShaneWhite30 and go to yourroutine.com. To make it even easier, I've added the link to yourroutine.com in the show notes. So just click on the show notes for this episode, click on the link to yourroutine.com, and don't forget to use code ShaneWhite30. All right, guys, today's episode is also brought to you by NeuroRoast. Again, I'm going to go a little off script here. NeuroRoast is a product that I also came across during this year of 2023. They are a coffee company that's helping you optimize your brain function and overall well-being. This is another product that, to be honest with you, when I first started working with it, I was a little on the fence. I was like, do I really want to have mushrooms in my coffee? Well, folks, I will tell you, when I use NeuroRoast, one of the things that has stood out to me the most is I'll back up. People that know me know that I have way too much caffeine, typically. One of the things this year I've done a good job of is cutting out alcohol. Not completely, but predominantly, I don't touch a lot of alcohol anymore. What I think I've actually done the other way, though, is add a lot more caffeine. So I do definitely drink too much caffeine. That's something I need to work on next year, is to try to minimize how much of that. But NeuroRoast is something that has actually helped me because of the way they've formulated their coffee. Like, unlike regular coffee, which is, still something I consume, but NeuroRoast specifically doesn't cause jitters or crashes. Mushroom coffee provides more balance and sustained energy, allowing you to stay focused and productive throughout the day. So the times I do use NeuroRoast, I'll be honest, I just don't feel that jittery, like, I'm jumping out of my chair or standing here at my desk jumping around feeling. So give NeuroRoast a try. They have some really good flavors. I'll be honest too, the two guys that started NeuroRoast are just really good dudes based out of New York, and they're hustling, and hopefully they can get some people to try NeuroRoast this holiday season by listening to this podcast. So for you folks who've been on the fence, I'm telling you, it tastes delicious. They've done a fantastic job of making this coffee not only be functional, but taste fantastic. And if you want to try NeuroRoast, you can use code ShaneWhite. So it's super simple, just ShaneWhite at checkout. you'll also get 30% off. So if you go to neuroroast.com, and once again, I have added that to the show notes. So just click into the show notes while you're listening to this episode. You can click on NeuroRoast link directly. Don't forget to use code just Shane White, and you'll get 30% off your order. Hope you guys love both these products. I'm trying to not only bring you guys products that I use, but that I believe in on the podcast. I'm not taking ad reads for any brands that I don't really believe in. So anyway, hope you guys love both those products, yourroutine.com and neuroroast.com. I've added those links to the show notes. I hope you guys love it. And I got an awesome guest coming up right after this. All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode here with Noble. Today, we're doing a little Prime Day last minute prep episode. We did one a few weeks ago on Prime Day, but we felt like kind of doing a rundown of, hey, we're 2 weeks out. So for anyone listening who doesn't know that, it's in 2 weeks. This episode's definitely for you if you didn't know that and you need to prepare. Yeah, we're just going to kind of jam and run through all the little things we're thinking about doing, and ultimately what can you still do if you're under the gun here to get going. So Kyle, I'll kick it to you to start, and I'll ping pong in. But 2 weeks out, not even. What do we focus on?
Yeah, so 2 weeks out, what I would recommend most brands are focusing on is stuff like overall preparedness, right? So from a promotion perspective, you can submit your deal, depending on the deal type, up until the night before, right? Obviously, we don't recommend it, but finalize what the deal is going to be. Make sure that the deal's submitted. Make sure all the items within your deal are not in an error status. That's something that we've seen some brands mistakenly do. And Amazon will sometimes put an item in an error status for a number of different reasons. Sometimes it's because there's no reference price. Other times it's because you have a minimum price threshold that you've set against an ASIN. You might have done it years ago and you just forgot about it, and now it's kind of coming up. So I always recommend check your deal's detail very thoroughly. That's number one.
If someone does have an issue there, what do you typically recommend in general? How do you kind of go about it?
Yeah, outside of, so like reference price sometimes is because you don't have a list price for an item, which can happen. Other times a reference price issue is just because the item's so new that there haven't been enough sales in the Amazon system to their system be able to say, hey, typically this item sells for this price. So to solve it, I mean, you can open a ticket. There are some issues that quite honestly, we don't have success in solving, in which case, and we're talking about a price discount that's failing. If you have an item that's failing on a price discount, you can always just run the same item on a coupon, a standard coupon. Sure. The merchandising on site is going to look a little bit different, and you definitely want to do a price discount if you can, but it's certainly better than nothing.
And if people are kind of confused on that, we did an episode a few weeks back, Amazon Prime Day 101, where we kind of ran through the different types of deals. So,
yep. So then outside of like promotion readiness, content is one thing that we've been working on. That would be specifically within advertising. If there's fine tunes that need on your PDP or your A+ content, Amazon doesn't let you say within any kind of ad placement like shop now, this is Prime Day or save now, but releasing new content with a summer theme or a grilling theme or just, seasonal relevance is always great. We always recommend try to have those campaigns live and running actually before Prime Day, because Amazon system takes a few days for impressions to build. So I would definitely say if you're getting new content, now is the time to do it. The other thing I'll mention on quickly, inventory-wise, if you're trying to get inventory in that's intended for Prime Day, anything that you send at this point has to go out small parcel for it to have any chance in getting received by Amazon quickly.
Yeah, that's an important one.
So anything that goes out LTL, I would not expect it to be received in time for the event.
Got it. Yeah, I'll double click into advertising. This is one where I think there's a lot of different opinions out there. I'll tell you our general philosophy. A lot of brands 2 weeks before, it's like now. our big brands, especially. So if you're a smaller brand, this is going to be more applicable to you. But a lot of the big food and beverage brands specifically will really start to lean into spend over these 2 weeks. I think there's some pros and cons of following along with that. The negative is all of a sudden you're spending a lot more capital here before the big event when you're not running a deal just to garner attention. Kyle made a good point. Like if you're going to launch any new media, creative, all of that, it's good to give yourself enough heads up to make sure it doesn't get flagged by Amazon beforehand. Yeah, Kyle and I are big believers in, like, you used to have a great analogy when we were at our X Bar about, don't go to the Super Bowl and try to throw a party in the parking lot and try to get as many people as you can to the party. Just go to the damn Super Bowl. That's pretty applicable to advertising during Prime Day too. I'm a big believer, and you can kind of waste a lot of resources trying to spend into Prime Day and just really garner the attention that's going to come on the 8th through the 11th, and try to triple down while everyone's shopping for deals. There's one thing actually we heard from our friends over at Amazon this week that, not that it's new, but I do think the only caveat would be if you're trying to garner a whole new category or consumer base, there is a whole group of consumers on Amazon that are smart enough, knowing Prime Day is coming up, that if you hit them with an ad and it's something they haven't tried, they can add it to their cart and just leave it in their cart or hit save later. And then during Prime Day, they have data to say there's a lot of consumers that go back through their cart or through their save later. I don't know if you ever look at this. Between me and Kelly, I think we have like, it's maxed out. It's like 900 and something things have been saved for later. So there are consumers that do that, and then they'll go back through a list of things they decided to not buy in the moment to see if they're on deal, because you'll actually see them on deal when they're in that position in your cart. You could try some things. I think it's brand to brand. Depends on your budget. It depends on a lot of different, things that could dictate whether those dollars are worth it or not. But that's a fun one to kind of play with if you're a brand that has some resources heading into Prime Day. Even if it's just next week, I think that's what, we're going to think about doing for some of our clients is next week's kind of a pre-week to try to kind of grease the wheel per se.
Yeah. And then I think the days of the event, we cancel all meetings. We are in the weeds of advertising. So our recommendation is, clear your schedules. You got to be in there all day during those days because costs or bid prices are changing so frequently. The other thing too that we do religiously every Prime Day is we're up super early. And that's really just to make sure that all the deals that were submitted are running correctly and merchandised correctly on site. It never surprises us when, an item falls off, even though it was submitted the night before. It's just, you got to get up early. You got to check.
And then I think I have PTSD at this point too. Like I remember I can remember where I was and being in my office, finding deals that just didn't go live when you're troubleshooting it at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah. So you just got to be on it. You got to be quick to open tickets and get things resolved. The Amazon team is also wildly busy those 4 days, so it's always helpful to lean on your contacts if you have them. But they're pretty checked out those 4 days as well. So you got to be up, looking at your deals, making sure everything's running smoothly. So yeah. Other than that, 4 days.
Last thing I'll throw in, this is one I don't know if we've ever said. Have if you work with a partner who's helping with Amazon, have some patience and empathy. those 4 days. I feel like it's one thing. Everyone knows we're working hard, but everyone that's really focused on Prime Day to execute, it's a stressful couple days. So just keep that in mind. We're working our asses off to do the best we can. I always say, like, questions or feedback is great during that time, but Kyle and I have a strong philosophy, and this is great for any team out there, is like, if you see something, say something. We're trying to put out a lot of different things and look at a lot of stuff during those 4 days. So it's always good to get that info as soon as possible. On Prime Day, things are happening so fast. Having an issue that lasts an hour, for example, could be a pretty big miss.
Big deal. Yep.
Awesome. That's an easy one, man. We're pumped.
Yeah. Good luck with everyone's Prime Day. Hopefully it's successful to everyone that listens to this. And
if anyone finds any crazy cool deals, send them to Kyle and I. I always love hearing about what people find on Prime Day.
I didn't pull the trigger on a TV last year. I might do that.
That's right. You were on the fence. You were on I think I did.
Yeah, you did.
Something.
I remember you did.
Yeah. I think that was Prime Day. Yeah, there's some crazy deals in tech. I'm curious this year too because of the 30 to 40 thing. And then in the past, some of those tech deals have been 50, 60, 70 on Prime Day.
Yeah, it's always
We'll see.
interesting to see, like, especially like big up and coming tech. Like, will Ring do something? Will Whoop do something? Will all of those wearables? It's going to be interesting to see what those guys
Yeah,
do.
that's a good point. Yeah, I think Aura did last year. They did
Yeah,
a big
Aura.
thing.
Yep.
Sweet.
All right,
Yeah,
guys.
good call. All right, man. Well, thanks for the time. Thanks for listening, everybody. And best of luck with Prime Day.
See you, everyone.
Bye.